into the second legs of the Europa Conference League, with some clubs on the brink of elimination and some clubs on the brink of making it through to the official round of 16. Who's going to go through? Who's going to go home? We'll take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. It's all about the Conference League. That's right, Europa Conference League. And it is the second legs of those playoffs to see who will go through to the actual last round of 16. Who's going to go through? Who's going to go home? We'll get into it in a minute. Big shout out to the members. Big shout out to the Patreons. Of course, your one-stop shop for Europa Conference League is right here under one Ruski. That's right. So some big boys like Real Betis look like they are, of course, going to go through, but they've got a second leg to take place, and we're going to get into those right here, right now. So sit tight, hold on. Here we go. They took on Jagiellonia Białystok, of course, in back of Topola. End up being a 3-1 win for the visitors. Meanwhile, what do we have down there? Of course, it's tested my badge knowledge. Of course, it is Celje. They took on APOEL Nikosia. I went with a 2-1 win for the hosts. Ended up being a 2-2 draw. Meanwhile, Vikingur and Panathinaikos ended up being a victory for Vikingur, 2-1 win in the end. Kicking off onto the other side of the graphic, we have, of course, Ljubljana for the visitors. Borac and Banjaluka were the hosts. Someone with a 1-0 win for the hosts. It was a 1-0 win for the hosts. So I got that one right, finally. Omonia Nikosia against Paphos over in Cyprus. The all Cypriot derby on with a 2-1 win for the hosts. Ended up being a 1-1 draw. Molde, of course, from Norway up against Shamrock Rovers of Ireland. This was a major surprise, going in favour of the Irish, the visitors, that's right. And then finally, Copenhagen up against Heidenheim and the Bundesliga. I went with a big home win for the Danes, but unfortunately, it was a big home win for the visitors, which was Heidenheim, that's right. So that's the situation in the first legs. From that, you could probably assume that Betis and Jagiellonia are probably going to go through to the next rounds. But, you know, this is football. Anything can happen as we reach the halfway mark of these matches. So let's take a look at those second legs now as we've flipped them around. Of course, coming at you, first and foremost, we're going to go to the top of the shop, which is Real Betis up against Gent. So let's get into the deep end on this one. Betis, of course, finished 15th in the old Europa League. They're, of course, now just one defeat in the last 4. Up against Gent, just one defeat in the last 6. If you flip it around, though, is actually one win in the last 6 for the Belgians. They finished 17th, of course, and, of course, coming into this on the back of that 1-0, that one loss between these two sides in Belgium. Looking forward, Gent are taking on, Gent are taking a beer shot today or tomorrow over in the Europa League, with Real Betis taking on Sociedad also on Sunday. That is correct. Prior to the game in Belgium, Real Betis did lose to Celta Vigo. Gent did also pick up a draw against Michelin in the Europa League on this one. Got the basic odds on this one, and the odds look like they go with Real Betis on this one. They, of course, massively fancied Gent, the underdogs. I'm going to give you my prediction for the match, and then we'll come back, of course, for the two-legged affair. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Real Betis. If you're quick and savvy and you can do your maths, you'll know what that means in the end, but I'll show you. Let's go over to Poland now. Jagiellonia Białystok. They're going to be taking on TSC. Of course, this match taking place on the 20th of February. Jagiellonia finished 9th in the table, just one defeat in the last 6. They're rocking 67% form for them right now. Up against back up Topola, coming in just on the back of 4 successive defeats. In fact, they are winless in the last 5. Of course, one of the lower ranked teams in the Europa League with just 24th spot with 7 points for the whole shebang. Of course, the reverse fixture, a 3-1 win for Jagiellonia in backup Topola. Of course, backup Topola taking on Motor Lublin in their domestic top flight there. Backup Topola taking on Tashik Odazaki in their top flight in the domestic league. The bookies on this one for this game and this game alone, we're looking at right here, right now. It is Białystok, our favourite for this one. TSC massively out-fancied. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win as well. And again, if you know the scoreline from the previous one, you'll know who goes through. Let's go over to Cyprus. That's right. APOEL Nikosia up against NK Celje. That's right. Coming at you. Also, same day, 20th of Feb. APOEL finishing 11th in the table. 42% form for them right now. Just one win though in the last 6. They're the draw kings, picking up 3 successive draws. Celje on the back of a 33% form for them right now. One win in 6. They finished 21st in the table. And of course, a reminder of that earlier scoreline, 2-2 over in Celje. APOEL taking on Limassol this weekend in Cyprus. Celje taking on Muremiriska Sobota in their top flight. But the bookies for this one, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? They're thinking a home win for the Cypriots. I think I'm going that way as well. 2-1 winners for the Cypriots. once again. Into the bottom one, it is a big one. It's a big boy on the brink of elimination. It's Panathinaikos got it all to do against Víkingur Reykjavík out of Iceland. Panathinaikos finishing 13th at the table with 10 points to the name on 3 successive defeats right now. Up against Víkingur Reykjavík, they finished 19th, a cool 2 points adrift of Panathinaikos, but they're coming into just 1 defeat in those last 6 matches. Of course, Víkingur with a 2-1 win over Panathinaikos. Most recently, prior to that, a 2-0 win over Copenhagen, of course, the first game of the Icelandic League. Of course, and all eyes on this for Víkingur. Meanwhile, Panathinaikos will be taking on Volos in their respective leagues. Of course, coming from behind, Panathinaikos now needing to step it up. They are still fancied. Víkingur massively out underdogs. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Panathinaikos. Realistically, in Greece, they're an intimidating place to go. And unfortunately, I think the Icelanders will come out on stock. Meanwhile, Olimpija Ljubljana up against Borac Banjaluka, coming at you over in Ljubljana, aka Slovenia. They have played each other twice now, since 2019. We'll talk about that shortly. Ljubljana, 58% form. They finished 14th at the table, just 1 defeat in the last 5. Up against Borac Banjaluka, unbeaten in the last 5. In fact, they won 3 on the spin. They did finish 20th at the table with 8 points to the name. The reverse fixture, a 1-0 win for Banjaluka in Banjaluka back in February 13th of Feb. Meanwhile, Banjaluka taking on, who are they taking on? They're taking on these guys, unless they're playing right here, right now. I do not know. Olimpija Ljubljana taking on Natifa Ledenva in their respective league this weekend. The odds right here, right now, Borac Banjaluka are outside favourites. Ljubljana massively fancied. But again, doesn't matter if you win on the day. It's all about the aggregate score. And currently, I'm going to go with Ljubljana 2-1 win. We might have to revisit that one again. Let's go to Cyprus. It's the all Cypriot affair. Paphos now hosting Omonia Nikosia. That's right. Paphos 12th at the table. 10 points they finished up with in the campaign. They were beaten now in the last 7. When I say 7, I mean 6. 92% form for them right now. Up against Omonia Nikosia, who are unbeaten in the last 7. They're on 83% form. They finished 22nd at the table, 7 points for the campaign. Now, again, they played 27 times. They were as a familiar opponent in the Cypriot League. 8 wins for Paphos, 10 wins for Nikosia. There's been 9 draws, including the draw in Nikosia just the other day. It was a 1-1 draw. Of course, coming at you this weekend, Paphos are taking on APOEL Limassol, and Omonia Nikosia taking on Arabadu in the Cypriot top flight. Last time I played over at this very venue, it was a 1-0 win for Omonia Nikosia in Paphos back in December. The bookies on this one, this is going to find it tight, very difficult to orchestrate, but they're giving it to Paphos, the home side. As do I. 1-0 winners. What does that do? We'll show you again at the end of the video. Meanwhile, Shamrock Rovers, they've got to take on Norway. Wow, in Ireland. Shamrock finishing in 10th at the table, 11 points for the campaign. They've won, they just lost once of the last 4. Up against Molde, they've won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6. They finished 23rd with 7 points to the name. They are familiar foes in recent competitions, playing 3 times since 2022. 2 wins Molde, 1 win for Shamrock Rovers. No draws. Last time they played in Ireland, it was a 2-0 win for Molde back in October 2022. Shamrock Rovers take on Bohemians in the top flight this weekend. First game of the Irish season, it looks like. Meanwhile, Molde must have been action right here, right now, because I don't see any result or any stuff going on. So the odds for this one, Shamrock Rovers are out fancied. Molde, of course, the heavyweights for this one, and then that's what I was anticipating from the first leg. But what's going to go on the second leg? Of course, tails are up, playing in front of the home crowds. This could be a one for the ages. It's going to go with a 1-1 draw. What does that mean? Well, of course, we'll see in a second. And then finally, we go over to Germany. It's Heidenheim up against Copenhagen. Coming at you over at Heidenheim. Played just the one time. 60 for the table did Heidenheim. They finished 10th points for the campaign. Just 1 win in the last 6. Up against Copenhagen. 4 defeats on the spin. They finished 18th with just 8 points to the name. The reverse fixture, a 2-1 win for Heidenheim in Denmark. Heidenheim looking forward, or maybe not so much, against Mainz this weekend. Copenhagen taking on Randers in their Superliga in Denmark. The odds for this one, of course, Heidenheim should be fancy, but actually, Copenhagen are favoured for the victory here. Heidenheim are the underdogs in Germany. And not for me, though. I'm going to go with the Germans with a 2-0 win. Now, what does all that mean? Of course, I've thrown the scorelines at you, but what does that mean? So let's go from the top again. We'll make it a 5-0 win for Real Betis. Meanwhile, Jagiellonia also go through with a 5-2 win over Topola, if my mathematics is correct. Meanwhile, APOEL Nikosia, they'll go through 4-3 against Celje there. Panathinaikos coming through there with a 4-2 aggregate win over Vikingur. Meanwhile, Olympic Ljubljana with that 2-1 win will go to penalties, and I'm going to back Ljubljana with the victory there in the front of the home crowd. Paphos with a 1-0 win on the night. They will be taking a 2-1 win through to the next stage. Shamrock Rovers, of course, 1-0 winners, famous win in Norway last time around. 1-1 on the night, going to go with the 2-1 win as well. And then Heidenheim, 2-0 winners on the night. Take that with that 2-1 win in Denmark. And there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. Those are my predictions for the second legs of those playoffs. Of course, we'll then be looking forward to those first and last round of 16 matches. Of course, we'll be coming at you quick and fast. Make sure you jot your predictions down below. Look forward to seeing you. Until then, smash the like, smash the thumbs up. Until then, I'll see you soon for the next one.